بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على سيدنا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم سيد الأولين والآخرين وعلى آله وأصحابه أجمعين. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. We've been discussing some aspects of Surah Al-Fatiha, and last week we delved into some of the fadail, some of the virtues of Surah Al-Fatiha and what the Prophet ﷺ had said in regards to the surah. And we also touched upon the aspect of the siyaq and sabaq and the sabr and nuzul of this ayah, and what the scholars have said in regards to the revelation of this ayah, whether it was revealed in Mecca or whether it was revealed in Medina. And I explained from the tahqiq of Imam Suyuti rahimahullah ta'ala that he mentioned that this surah was revealed twice, once in Mecca and once in Medina. Hence why it is known as Sab'ul Masani, the 7 verses which were revealed twice. Once Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in Mecca, and then they revealed these 7 verses. And when the Prophet ﷺ was in Medina, then Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came once again, and then they revealed these 7 verses again. Hence why it's known as Masani. And I said that we will be discussing this week about the ta'awuz, A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem, and Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And it's pretty important to know what the scholars have said in regards to these ayahs as well, even though they are not part of Surah Al-Fatiha. There's a big discussion, a long discussion in the books of Tafsir, whether Ta'awuz and the Basmala are part of Surah Al-Fatiha or not. And I explained that the opinion of the Ahnaf is that Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is not part of Surah Al-Fatiha. But we will look at that later on today, inshallah. Why is it important to discuss Surah Al-Fatiha? There's a narration where Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala said that the whole of the Quran, the whole knowledge of the Quran is in Surah Al-Fatiha. And the whole knowledge of Surah Al-Fatiha is in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And the whole knowledge of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is in the ba of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And then Sayyidina Ali said that the ba of Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, that nuqta, that dot that is under that ba, he said, Ana nuqtatul ba'i. He said, I am that dot. Sayyidina Ali said that I am the dot of the ba. And the ba which has all the knowledge of Surah Al-Fatiha, which is Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And Surah Al-Fatiha, which has all of the knowledge of the Quran, Sayyidina Ali said that dot and that ba, I have ilm of that as well. So this shows that Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala, it shows his maqam in ilm, of how much knowledge he had in regards to the Quran. Hence when I mentioned today at Jummah, that one of the karamat, from the miracles of Sayyidina Ali, was that when he would mount on his horse, from the right side he would start on Surah Al-Fatiha. And when he had got his left leg over, he had ended up on Nas. So he had read the whole Quran whilst mounting his camel. And it takes 3 or 4 seconds to mount your camel or horse. But this is the karamat of Sayyidina Ali, that it only took him 4 or 5 seconds to complete the whole recitation of the whole Quran. And the ulama, they explained this. They said someone could object, how is this possible? That someone recites the Quran in 4 or 5 seconds. It's impossible. The mind can't comprehend this. So then the scholars, they gave an answer for this. They said that when someone begins reading the Quran excessively, then he is given a rank of Sultan al-Zakirin. This is a rank in Tasawwuf. And the awliya, they speak about this rank. And they say when a person reaches that rank of Sultan al-Zakirin, then his whole body and all the hairs on his body begin to recite the Quran as well. And from the biographies of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala, we know that he was a man that had lots of hair on his body. And due to this, the ulama have explained that because he had excessive hair on his body, all of the hairs of the body of Sayyidina Ali will recite the Quran and recite the different surahs of the Quran. So when he put his right foot in the right saddle until he got to the left saddle, by that time all of his body had heard the full Quran Sharif and he his mouth. And this is how ulama explained this. And his maqam bil ilm, I was just reading during this week that the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came to many of the Anbiya and they mentioned the ta'adad, the numbers, and numerous numbers they mentioned the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. They came to Sayyidina Musa alayhi salam this amount of time, and Sayyidina Isa this amount of times. And then the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam discusses about himself. And he says that Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came to me 24,000 times. 24,000 times. And Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala said that Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came to me 48,000 times. And the Sahaba was sitting and they objected to Sayyidina Ali. They said, how is it possible that Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam comes to you 48,000 times and it comes to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam 24,000 times? It should be the other way around. Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala explains. He says, haven't you heard what the Prophet alayhi salatu wasalam said about me? That Ana Madinatul Ilm Aliyu Babuha. That I am the city of knowledge and Ali is the door to that city. And the ulama, they explain that when you come into the city, you have to go in the door and come out of the door. But you only go to the city once. So Sayyidina Ali said that Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salam came to me once when he would go to the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And when after visiting the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he would come out again and he would go past me. Hence why Sayyidina Jibreel alayhi salatu wasallam has visited me 48,000 times. 24 more thousand times at the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, because he was the door to the city of the knowledge, which was the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. And in the month of Ramadan, Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala passed away. Inshallah, if I have time, I will dedicate one Jummah to the life of Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala. So it's quite important why we know Surah Al-Fatiha. Sayyidina Ali said that I am the dot on the bar, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. And this shows the amount of ilm that Sayyidina Ali radiallahu ta'ala has, and it shows how much knowledge and fadila that Surah Al-Fatiha itself has, because the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that all of the knowledge of the Quran lies in Surah Al-Fatiha. Allah Ta'ala in the Quran says, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ مِنَ الشَّيْطَانِ الرَّجِيمِ. That when you are reciting the Quran, فَاسْتَعِذْ بِاللَّهِ, seek refuge from Allah, from shaitan who has been rejected, the cursed shaitan. So what is isti'adha? The ulama, they explain. And they say, isti'adha is that thing when you are trying to save yourself by someone from something else. So you seek refuge in Allah from the shaitan. This is called isti'adha. And then the Mufassirin, they go into the explanation of the word shaitan. And they say that this word shaitan is from the word shatan. And this means to be someone who is far away from any good. He's far away from any khair. And shaitan is known as shaitan because he is far away from the mercy of Allah Ta'ala. And this is how the ulama explain the word shatan and how it relates to the word shaitan. And then they carry on and they explain that al-rajim, Allah Ta'ala, we read A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitan al-Rajim. And what does rajim mean? They say that rajim is from the word rajam. It means to curse, it means to reject. And so Allah Ta'ala curses the shaitan and he became rajim because he denied Allah Ta'ala, or he tried to question Allah Ta'ala. Because when Allah Ta'ala ordered the malaika to prostrate to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, and this was a sajda of ta'azim, and the Mufassirin have explained this under the ayah, where Allah Ta'ala orders the malaika to prostrate. And the malaika, they prostrated. But Iblis, shaitan, he didn't. Aba wastakbara wa kana minal kafirin, the Quran says. That he became arrogant and he didn't prostrate to Allah Ta'ala. And what was his reason? That he became rejected. And this is a very important issue because a lot of people, the way they present this issue is in the wrong manner. They say that shaitan became rejected because he didn't worship Allah Ta'ala. But that wasn't the case. Allah Ta'ala ordered malaika to worship Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. The reason why shaitan became rejected wasn't because he went against Allah or he didn't prostrate to Allah. He didn't respect a Nabi. Hence why he didn't respect the Nabi, which was saying that Adam alayhi salam. Hence why Allah Ta'ala rejected him. It wasn't because he did not prostrate to Allah, even though he did say that I am better than him, I am created from fire and he is created from clay. He equaled himself to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam. And this equality Allah Ta'ala could not bear. That a shaitan or Iblis, an angel, he equates himself to a Nabi. And this was from the reasons why Sayyidina shaitan was rejected. And Imam Fakhruddin Razi radiallahu ta'ala says that when the Malaika, they prostrated to Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, between the eyebrows of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, or between his eyes, they could see the nur of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So Imam Fakhruddin Razi says that in essence they were prostrated to Adam, but they were prostrated to the Zat of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Because between the eyebrows of Sayyidina Adam alayhi salam, they could see the light of the Prophet sallallahu alayhi wasallam. Hence why Shaitan became Rajim. And hence why Allah Ta'ala refers to him as Al-Rajim, because he has rejected him. And this was the discussion of A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajim. Now the scholars, they move on to the discussion of Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And they say that the letter Ba, this harf, this particle Ba, has many different ma'ani, meanings within the Arabic language. Ba comes from Musahaba, it comes from Isti'ana, and it comes from various meanings. That's why the Arabic language is so intrinsic and so deep that even one harf, one particle comes from various different meanings. And they say the Ba here in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim is Ba al-Isti'ana. Ba for seeking help. And there's example that the scholars give, they say Katabtu bil-Qalam, that someone says I wrote bil-Qalam, I wrote bil-Isti'anat al-Qalam, I wrote with the help of a pen. And the ulama, they write that so when someone recites Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, he is seeking the help of Allah in the action he is doing. For example, if someone is making wudu, or if someone is praying, he recites Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, he is seeking the help of Allah Ta'ala in that certain action which that person is doing. And then the ulama, they commentate on the word Allah. They said, what is this word Allah in Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim? And they say that the word Allah is Ismul A'zam. It's the greatest name of Allah Ta'ala. And ulama have said that this originally was Ilahu, which means that Zat which is raised and which is honored and which magnitude no one can comprehend. And these are opinions of the ulama. And some scholars say that Allah was originally Allah, and He wasn't derived from another word. And they say that this word Allah, it is that person who is wajib al-wujud. Wajib al-wujud is a terminology of theology which the scholars, they explain that wajib al-wujud is Allah Ta'ala, i.e. the existence of Allah Ta'ala is wajib. It's compulsory for Allah Ta'ala to exist in order for this creation to run. There are certain things that are called mumkin, wajib and mustahil. Certain things are mustahil for Allah Ta'ala, i.e. impossible. Allah Ta'ala can't lie. And this was one of the mistakes certain scholars in the Indian subcontinent made. And the ayat they quote from the Quran said, Inna Allah ala kulli shayin qadir. They say Allah Ta'ala has the qudra, the capability to do everything. He doesn't have this capability to lie, but it is possible that He can lie. And this was the belief of certain scholars in the subcontinent. And Imam Ahmad Rida Khan came and he refuted this ideology. And he said lying is mustahil, is impossible for Allah Ta'ala because lying is a defect. And Allah Ta'ala is free from all defects. Allah Ta'ala is that Zat, is that being who perfection lies. Allah Ta'ala possesses all of perfection. They lie in Jamal and Kamal, they all lie in Allah Ta'ala. Hence we cannot attribute mustahilat or mumkinat to Allah Ta'ala. It's certain things which are impossible and certain things which are possible for the Zat of Allah, because Allah Ta'ala's Zat is wajibul wujud, i.e. without Him He has to exist. La ibtida wa la intiha. He didn't have the beginning, He had no end. He existed when nothing was in existence, and He will exist when nothing remains. And this is what the ulama, they explain the word Allah, that they say is Ismul Azam and it means wajibul wujud. Then Allah Ta'ala talks about a attribute of Him. He says Bismillahir Rahman. And what is Ar-Rahman? And the ulama said that when Ar-Rahman has two meanings. One is ihsan and one is shafqa. One is mercy and one is doing good to someone. They say when you are talking about a person then you say that this person is Rahman in the meaning that he is very shafqat. But when you're talking about Allah being Rahman, then it's only ihsan. Why? Because only Allah Ta'ala has the ability that all of the creation He can do ihsan upon. That person who is in need, only Allah Ta'ala can help him in his need. Hence why the ulama say that this sifat of Ar-Rahman is for Allah Ta'ala. But Ar-Rahim, another attribute of Allah Ta'ala, they say that this can come for Allah and it can come for the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as well. This attribute of mercy can come for also the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, because Surah Al-Tawbah Allah Ta'ala says وَبِالْمُؤْمِنِينَ رَحُوفٌ رَحِيمٌ. Allah Ta'ala talks about the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam and He describes Himself, and Allah Ta'ala describes the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam as being Ra'uf, as being someone who is very merciful and someone who is very Rahim as well to the Mu'mineen. So this word Rahim, it can come for Allah and it can come for the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, as has been proven. The ulama, they have proven this from Surah Al-Tawbah. And they said this is the reason why Ar-Rahman came first and Ar-Rahim. They said the reason why Ar-Rahman came because Ar-Rahman, this is only khas to Allah. Only Allah can be Ar-Rahman. None of the creation of Allah can be Rahman. And the reason why Rahim came after Rahman and not before, even though grammatically, according to Arabic language, Rahim was meant to come before Rahman. But they say the reason why Rahim came after, because this is a quality that exists in Allah and also a quality which exists in the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Ulama, especially Imam Alusi in the Ruh al-Ma'ani, his tafsir, he says from Bismillah Rahman Rahim, we can also realize the reality and the haqiqah of the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam. Why? Because this sifat of Ar-Rahim also denotes that the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam is Rahim. So they say that when every single time a person reads Bismillah Rahman Rahim, we can also understand the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam from the sifat of Rahim as well. And then there was a big discussion in the books of tafsir about Bismillah Rahman Rahim, whether it was part of Surah Al-Fatiha or whether it was not. Because we know the Shawafi and the Maliki and the Hanabila, they read Bismillah Rahman Rahim Jahran aloud. And the Ahnaf are not of this opinion, they don't read it out aloud. But I said last week that Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal and Imam Abu Hanifa of this opinion that Bismillah Rahman Rahim is not part of Surah Al-Fatiha. And I said that Imam Shafi, they disputed with Imam Abu Hanifa on this position. And they said that Bismillah Rahman Rahim is a juz of Surah Al-Fatiha. But I'm not going to go to the dalail of Imam Shafi and Imam Ahmad and Imam Malik. I'm just going to present the dalail of the Ahnaf, because majority of people here are sitting, they're all Hanafis. Imam Abu Hanifa's daleel for Bismillah Rahman Rahim not being part of Surah Al-Fatiha is from a hadith which I mentioned last week in Sahih Muslim, where the Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said that Allah Ta'ala said that Surah Al-Fatiha has been divided into two. One part is for me and one part is for my slave. And I mentioned this long hadith when the person says Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, and then Allah Ta'ala replies back that my servant has praised me. And then when I say Ar-Rahman Ar-Rahim, then Allah Ta'ala replies back that my servant has praised me. And then when the servant says Maliki Yawmiddin, and then Allah Ta'ala says that my servant has surrendered himself towards you only for my sake. And when a servant says Iyaka na'budu wa iyaka nasta'in, and Allah Ta'ala says that whatever my servant now asks for me, I will give it to him in this case. And this was a long hadith which I explained last week. And Imam Abu Hanifa uses this hadith. He says that when the Prophet ﷺ spoke, he didn't begin from Bismillah Rahman Rahim. He began from Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. And Imam Abu Hanifa says, this is my evidence and this is my daleel that Bismillah Rahman Rahim is not part of Surah Al-Fatiha, because if it was part of Surah Al-Fatiha, then the Prophet ﷺ should have said Bismillah Rahman Rahim, Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. But he didn't. He just said Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. This is one of the evidences of the Hanaf that why Bismillah Rahman Rahim is not a juz of the Quran. And the other thing is that those who believe that it is a juz of the Quran, they are correct as well. All the four mazahib, they are all correct. And they're all from Ahlul Sunnah wal Jama'ah. But just the istidlalat, how they derived or how they understood a certain verse or a certain hadith and differs, but all of them were correct. So if one wants to follow Imam Shafi's opinion on that, he can do so. If one wants to follow Imam Ahmad bin Hanbal's opinion, he can do so. And if he wants to follow Imam Malik's opinion, then he can do so. All four of them are correct, and all four of them are Imams, and all four of them are from Ahl Sunnah wal Jama'ah. To the extent that when Imam Abu Hanifa passed away, Imam Shafi went to his grave. And this is mentioned in Bidayah wa Nihaya, and Siyar A'lam al-Nubala, Bidayah wa Nihaya of Ibn Kathir, Siyar A'lam al-Nubala of Imam al-Zahabi, that when Imam Shafi would go to the grave of Imam Abu Hanifa when he would have a problem, when he had a haja, when he had a problem, an issue, he would go and he would pray to Allah Ta'ala at the grave of Imam Abu Hanifa. This is very authentic. And when he would pray there, he wouldn't do Raf' al-Yadayn. After all the takbirat, he wouldn't raise his hands at the grave of Imam Abu Hanifa. And they asked him why. They said, why is it that you come to the grave of Abu Hanifa and you pray like a Hanafi? You don't raise your hands after every takbir when you say Allahu Akbar. He says, the reason why I don't, even though in my mazhab when I pray, I raise my hands after every takbir. But the reason why I don't raise my hands when I arrive at the grave of Imam Abu Hanifa, out of ihtaram and adab for Imam Abu Hanifa. Because he was a greater scholar than me. Because the day Imam Abu Hanifa passed away, Imam Shafi was born. When one scholar was leaving the world, Allah Ta'ala blessed this world with another scholar by the likes of Imam Shafi. And Imam Shafi is a very big Imam, a very high scholar. One day, for our time, I will speak about his life. So this is the discussion of A'udhu Billahi Minash Shaitanir Rajeem and Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. And I explained why the Hanaf say that it's not part of a juz, because we proved from the hadith of Sahih Muslim. Next week will begin Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. The reason why I didn't begin it this week, because that discussion is a very long discussion. And ulama, they go into a lot of detail, especially in regards to the hamd, the praise of Allah. And they describe what is the difference between praise, hamd, and salah and shukr. These three things, and what's the difference and what's the similarities. And the scholars have gone through a lot of detail. So inshallah next week we will carry this on after Salatul Asr. Allah Ta'ala gives us the tawfiq that He gives us the ability to seek more knowledge, and that knowledge that we seek, He gives us the ability to act upon that knowledge. وأقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم وآخر دعوانا الحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد وعلى آل سيدنا ومولانا محمد وبارك وسلم عليه. اللهم انفعنا بما علمتنا وعلمنا ما ينفعنا وزدنا علما وزدنا فهما وزدنا حكمة والحمد لله على كل حال. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله.